Hey, welcome aboard to the A Game. I'm Rob Akampora from the studios, a shared universe somewhere on the Jersey Shore, run by Ming Chen, who this guy happens to know. And Sean and I were just sharing a couple things before we even get started. How many people we actually know, and it's like it's taken this to bring us together.
Oh
by the way,
God, 6 degrees of separation, right?
really, and
How crazy it is it that Ming and I were just in Dubai together? Like that's not too random.
You know what? Since you bring that up, I was going to bring it up anyhow. By the way, Sean Kanan is my guest here. You know him as Mike Barnes from Cobra Kai. If you're a soap opera fan, you know AJ Quartermaine from General Hospital. You know the deviant Deacon Sharpe from The Bold and the Beautiful and Y&R. But since you went there, you were in Dubai with Ming Chen.
How crazy is that?
Yeah. I mean, so you've been out on the Comic-Con circuit a little bit. What was Dubai like?
What was Dubai like? Wow, so many different feelings. Most of them centered around the fact that they only paid me half the money. But you know, Dubai was you know, it's a lot like Las Vegas meets Disney World in the sense that it's very clean and there's all sorts of, you know, beautiful buildings.
Right.
Really, it's amazing architecture. Whether it's the Burj Khalifa, which is I think it's still the tallest building in the world,
Right.
And I think they're building another one in Singapore that's going to be bigger. But you know, the people were very nice. But I was kind of, I guess, looking for some of the sort of cultural stuff that I guess you would see in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
But really isn't there in Dubai, because Dubai is largely a city that's predicated on doing business.
Right.
You know, a lot of Lamborghinis, a lot of fancy sports cars, that sort of stuff. But people were very nice. It was very cool. And it was great to hang out with Ming and go to the mall with him. We went to the mall together.
So I'm gathering, Ming, you can chime in for 1 second. So give me photo.
Ming's a big chimer, by the way.
Yes, he will chime in from time to time. But as you give me photo one, Ming, you're going to be at this event too to support Sean. You are.
I will. Yes.
Good.
If Sean Kanan's doing stand-up comedy and it's an hour away, I got to be there.
He's like, I got to see that.
By the way, accomedyclub.com to get your tickets. It is next Saturday, January 7th, the Claridge, which is the Atlantic City Comedy Club on the third floor. So I got to go right for the jugular. You have done just about everything. I mean, you've been a soap opera star. You got the Cobra Kai thing. This has been by the way, great 2022 for you.
Not to mention my hardcore porn career.
Whoa!
We're
gonna get up now. I thought you were going to save that for the act, but you know. But what possessed you? I would imagine comedy has been in your blood somewhere. It's not like you're just doing this on a whim, or are you just doing this on a whim?
No. I've done this off and on for a long time. You know, I was about 15 years old, and a buddy and we snuck into a comedy club, and I from the get-go was just mesmerized at how these guys and girls could keep an audience spellbound with just their words.
Yeah.
And I remember once, it's funny, I just realized this. It's funny that I'm going to Atlantic City and doing this, because when I was about 16, I took my parents' car, I drove to Atlantic City, and the first time I ever did stand-up was there was like a competition on the boardwalk. It was like a talent show.
Oh, wow.
And I got up and did some semblance of what I thought was stand-up at the time when I was 16 years old. And I was just thinking, it's kind of funny. It's come full circle to actually performing inside one of the buildings as opposed to outside
one of the
boardwalk. Yeah.
But you think about it, when you're young and in the 1980s, there were so many things you could have talked about, and you're trying to think like, yeah, I can do this. I can now 40 years later that you're going to do it professionally and do it in an Atlantic City casino. Obviously, the question becomes, and I'm not putting you on the spot here, but you obviously have a routine worked out in your head, but it's going to be more than just a routine that's going on, as you call it, the comedy dojo.
No, I just am going to make it up as I go. Of course I do. No, you know, this is actually the second time that I've performed at this club too. It's a great club.
Yeah.
Really, really beautiful space. Atlantic City is a lot of fun to perform in. You know, I don't get a chance to get back to the East Coast as often as I would like. And so it's really nice to go back and do the clubs there. You know, when I do stand up, usually it's out here in Los Angeles. You know, we've obviously got the Laugh Factory and the Comedy Store and the Improv. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
And there's also going to be a Q&A involved after you do your set, is there not?
Yeah, sure.
So that means any questions?
I just informed my wife that she's going to be holding the microphone and being a part of it. So
no.
I like to throw little curveballs to her. Keeps her on her toes.
Well, since you bring her up, happy anniversary. I know it was your 10th anniversary over the summer, was it not? Number 10,
It was our 10th anniversary, July 8th.
10 years.
Yeah,
And I know you've got a lot of things going on in the family. If I can detour for a second, it's like there's what, 5 kids between the two of you. You
yeah,
came together 10 years ago. You worked together on a couple of things.
yes.
Does it?
Five kids, the dream killers. Michelle had 4 going into the relationship. I only brought 1 anvil with me, and we formed kind of a modern day Brady Bunch.
Absolutely, you did. I mean, was it rough at first? Is the best way to ask, because stepping in as the step.
No, teenage girls was a walk in the park. Are you kidding me?
They were teenage.
Are you kidding? Yeah.
Forget it.
Yeah, no,
You've been through hell and back.
Listen. Let me tell you what. I mean, there is no war, no anything that you can put me through that does. Teenage girls toughens you up for anything.
There you go.
Okay, talk about earning a black belt. Yeah.
All right. So earning a black belt, stand-up comedy, or raising a teenager. Okay, yeah. You're prepared for it. He's ready for Atlantic City. He's ready. He's more than ready.
That's right.
Sean Kanan's here on the A Game. Let me go to photo number 2, because like you said, this is not your first rodeo with this. This is in. Do you remember how long ago that was when you were at the Laugh Factory? Because I'm looking at that photo and going, that's got to be.
I think I superimposed that foot. No, that was. Yeah, that was before I met Michelle. So that had to be probably, I'm going to guess, 15 years ago.
Wow. You really have been at this a long time, just trying to fit it in between everything else, I would imagine.
Yeah, look, it's something I love to do. Everything I do, I love for a different reason.
Right.
I love films because even if it's a piece of crap, it lasts forever. It's something that's there in perpetuity. I like television because it moves very quickly.
Right.
Okay. But I love stand-up because it's my words and the audience, and you have that immediate reciprocity, and it's just electric.
That's an instant gratification that you're not going to get in film or in TV. It's something like, there's you, there's the audience, and
go time.
Those laughs come, and you're just like, and you feel that rush come over you.
It is a rush too. I mean, it really is. It's like you get in a rhythm, man, and when things are going well, it's just it's kind of euphoric.
Well, when you look at comedy versus soap opera for a second, I want to take this comparison because both of them in their own right are difficult to do. And like you said, the euphoria of the comedy, but then the workload on a soap opera. I mean, it is sort of night and day. But in one sense, building up to the anticipation of doing a comedy show. That's where okay, my pulse rate's about 190. I can breathe heavy. And I'm like, okay. But then you go into the work on a soap opera. And from what I understand from other soap opera actors that I've talked to, it is one of the hardest jobs to do because it is constant and it is a daily grind. And not everybody's cut out to do it. Not every actor or actress can do so.
Yeah. On average, I probably have like 20 to 30 pages of dialogue a day. It's a lot. And so
exactly,
and that's, I mean, you have to have that skill set to be able to learn the voluminous amounts of dialogue. But the hardest thing is not learning the dialogue. It's making it come to life and making it interesting. The baseline of what you got to do is be able to learn the dialogue.
Right.
And I know you're right. There's a lot of guys I've worked with. We've had film guys come on to the soap sometimes, and it's funny. They're really blown away by the fact that they have to do so much in one day, because when you do a film, sometimes you might only do 7 to 13 pages a day. It's not a lot, which is a real luxury. It's nice.
And since you bring up film, I want to take a look at 2022 for a second. We'll come back to soap opera in a second since you bring this up. 2022 started. I'll start with January. You had a film that came out that featured Bruce Willis in it. So not a nice way to start the year, and then all of a sudden it segues into, give me photo number 5. This series, Studio City, which wins an Emmy. This is really your blood and guts with your wife with this show, is it not?
Ours and our showrunner and director Timothy Woodward Jr. Yeah, but this has been my baby for a long time. So, and my wife is one of the executive producers and head writers, and it's something very special to all of us.
It's cool when I heard it's like, oh, it won an whoa, how did that?
Well, it actually won 3, Rob. But I was
excuse me, the 3-time Emmy award-winning series that can be seen on Amazon Prime if you're looking to binge a show. Covered myself all there.
Yeah, and we're just about to conclude a deal over probably the next 60 days, which is going to take Studio City to multiple different platforms.
Hey,
go back into production later in the new year.
Happy to hear that. That is great. For people, if you're looking for something to binge, I'm going to play the trailer that you released for season 1. This is a little bit of a teaser, but highly recommended. Again, I know binging is you're dealing with about 17 episodes that you can watch in a weekend. This is something you can watch before you see Sean in Atlantic City. Check it out. Here's the show clip.
I show up every day, 40 pages of dialogue. I hit my mark and I deliver every time.
Sam, you have been phoning it in like you're some sexy 22-year-old firefighter.
I mean, do you want me to quit?
Badly.
Because right now, you suck as an actor.
This guy Nick Cassidy's my replacement?
Replacement? I was thinking rival, but now that you mention it.
I mean, this is a young man's game here. I don't know how much time I have left. And it's just, I know I can do something.
Okay, this is a perfect project for him.
Listen, this is exactly what we've been waiting for. This is what we want.
I have got like a pile of shit on my plate right now.
I'm your daughter.
What the hell does she want from me? I'm not equipped to be anyone's father. Hell, I don't even have my own father.
Your dad is going to die.
Please, Dad, just let me help you.
I am throwing you a lifeline here. So get out of your own goddamn way. When you cut all that shit out, you're not half bad.
There's a few people to recognize in there, by the way. 1, Tristan Rogers, who I recognized right away. 2, was that Ron Moss in the hat?
That was Ron Moss telling me that I suck as an actor. And let me tell you, who the hell knew Ron was so funny? Ron got nominated for an Emmy for that role.
Oh, wow. I see. Yeah. I did not realize that. And I did not know. I mean, I know Ron Moss for a lot of things. Funny? That's not something I would think.
He is hilarious in it. Patrika Darbo. Sarah Joy Brown, Anna Marie Horsford.
Oh, that's who I was about to mention, who I recognized way back in the day from Amen. She looks great.
Yeah, how about she was Ice Cube's mom in Friday?
Exactly. Yeah. So no, nice casting going on there, and obviously through your connections through GH, you get Christian Rogers, through The Bold and the Beautiful. I'm sure that was an easy go. Hey, Ron, you want to come on for a day or two? He's like, yeah, sure. What the heck?
Well, we had to kind of cajole Ron. It was a team effort.
Oh, really?
Me and my wife, yeah. But that is one of the advantages of having worked in the business a long time. That I can call these people, and fortunately they were willing to take a leap of faith, and worked out pretty well.
Congratulations on what's happened so far. This is great news to see that this is going to keep going too. So again, find it on Amazon Prime at your leisure this weekend. Binge it, have some fun with it. And Sean Kanan is here on the A Game. Also a part of this year, obviously Cobra Kai. I mean, you wind up on this thing, which obviously was like the biggest thing to have happen. I want to go back to photo 4 because we got to set this up. Obviously, from the beginning, there is this young man who is Mike friggin' Bonds. There he is, the bad boy of karate, who's all grown up in Cobra Kai. And by the way, I'll give credit to the writers. They really did bring the human element of your character and almost kind of developed it, even in only a couple of episodes. And when you read the script, did you feel that also, that it was like, hey, I like this? There's actually some meat to developing what Mike Barnes is today?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get to read the script for quite a while.
Okay.
It really... the genesis of it was a Zoom call with John Hurwitz and Josh Held. And, I couldn't believe they wanted to have a Zoom call about it and kind of hear my input. Hear these guys that have created this massively successful show. They certainly don't need to hear from me, but they were so gracious to do that. I just sort of said to him, look, you guys are brilliant. Whatever you come up with is going to be great. I just personally would like to see some evolution 30 years later, that it's not that, unidimensional thug that Mike Barnes was in Karate Kid 3. And I'd also love to infuse some humor into it too, because there's so much funny stuff in Cobra Kai. And, to their credit, I think we were able to accomplish that.
And that obviously, when you talk about the humor, that really plays into the comedic side of you that a lot of people don't really realize. And again, you come out January 7th to Atlantic City Comedy Club. You'll find out more about that. You see how I'm.
There's a hell of a promo there, Rob.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's
Most
like
people don't know you as being funny. Now you're doing the comedy club on the 7th, right? Good.
I apologize. Now that you put it down, make safe you put photo 1 up again so I can take my foot out of my mouth. Oh. See, this is the problem I have when I interview comedians. They're too fast for me. I'm just
that's me.
Do this. Yeah. That's
Sharpe as attack.
But now that I've lost my no, going back to Cobra Kai for a second. But like you said, having the comedic element come on there and the human element probably made it so much fun to do, and obviously revisit the character even for a short bit because you got so many other things going on. So I would think this was just okay. It was a nice little trip down, reminiscing lane, and it worked out really well.
Yeah, I got on set and Ralph and I just looked at each other and went, Jesus, this is so surreal. I mean, here we are 30 some years later, and can you believe it? And I think it's one of the things I really like about Ralph and Billy is that, these guys have become these monster TV stars, and they're also not that they're surprised by it, but there's still a bit of, wow, can you believe this happened?
They're still
something
kind of
that
like
we did. And I think it's really nice. And they're two of the nicest guys you ever want to meet. And they're both real funny, but I think Billy's one of the funniest people I've ever met. That guy makes me laugh, and he's got a really dry, funny sense of humor, and they're both just terrific in it.
Now, I know you got a lot of stories, and I'm going to focus in on a lot of other things because I want to encourage people to go down to Atlantic City. But those are the stories you're going to tell, a little more behind the scenes stuff,
Sure.
And you can share all this. There's one I will touch on only because it's been out there for a long time. But when you came on to Karate Kid 3, obviously you were more known as somebody who did karate than as an actor. But then you do the stunts, and then all of a sudden something happened that, let's put it this way, your life was in a little bit of peril because of something that went a little awry during the filming.
Yeah. I had internal bleeding. I perforated my omentum, which sits on, I didn't even know what an omentum was, but apparently we all have one. Sits on top of your upper or lower intestine. I can't remember which. And Christmas Day, 1988, I was bleeding to death in a emergency room in Las Vegas at Humana Sunrise Hospital, and had to go into emergency surgery and almost lost my life, and very much almost lost my role in the film, and had to, fight my way back into the world and back into the picture. But, kid stayed in the picture.
Right. But how does that change you as a human being? You were so young when that.
Well, I would have been dead. So that.
You would have been dead. But I mean, your outlook wise.
No, you know what? I'll tell you something. It was one of the most profound experiences that I've ever had in my life. It was certainly to date the most terrifying, and I wouldn't trade it for too many things because, when you're 20, 21, 22 years old, you just feel like you're immortal, and to have that false sense of security pulled away and to be faced with the fragility of life.
Right.
And then be forced to basically kind of cowboy up, it was like I needed to dig deep because I remember they were wheeling me into surgery, and I started to feel myself going cold and getting tired, and I knew that if I didn't fight it, that it wasn't going to go well. And then once I got through the surgery, I had a 15-inch wound on my abdomen, and was worried about the film, and I didn't have to worry for too long because I got a call from John Avildsen, who was the director of Karate Kid and Karate Kid 2 and 3 and won the Academy Award for Rocky. And, he basically told me, you need to be back at work in, I don't know if it was 10 days or 2 weeks, or we're going to recast the role. Wow. And something very interesting took place. I started to get really angry. I was pissed off. I thought it was really unfair and unjust. There was no flowers, no balloons, no get well. It was, this is the reality of it. But that anger soon became my why. It was the fuel that forced me to have myself discharged against medical advice from the hospital, and to start rehabilitating myself with a guy who was a lineman for the Rams. And ultimately, I did all my own martial arts stunts in the film. And at least for that moment in time, it gave me a glimpse of what's inside of me that I didn't know was there before. And so now, you know, I could have attached the story to it that Hollywood sucks, that, you know, you're nothing but a piece of meat, you're a cog in the wheel, blah, 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 blah. But, you know, and be somewhat cynical and embittered by this experience. But instead, when things in my life get tough, as they do in everyone's life,
right,
I sort of ask myself, well, is it as tough as being told that, you know, you might not live and you have to go to emergency surgery? It's not that tough. You can do it. You know, cowboy up, buttercup. And it kind of serves as a motivating force for me, because that's the framing that I choose to use for what was otherwise an experience I wouldn't wish on anybody.
No, of course not. But I get the feeling that side of you comes out a little bit more in your writing than it does anything else. I mean, you've had 3 books out and you've expressed yourself in different ways through these books.
Yeah, very, very much so. My most recent book, which just came out December 10th, is the sequel to Way of the Cobra. It's called Welcome to the Kumite.
Yep.
And it's far and away the most personal of my books. And, you know, I talk a lot about the struggles that I've had, the challenges that I've faced,
Yeah,
and how I've overcome them. And, you know, it's been really amazing to see the response that people have had to these books worldwide. It's almost formed a sort of a community. You know, we call it our dojo. So I'm really honored that it's had this kind of reception.
Yeah, one of the books I'm going to bring up, this is from 2019. It's photo number 9, Ming, if you can bring it up here. And this one got you a lot of accolades. Success Factor, which you work with Jill Lieberman. And there's a lot of, like I said, look at the title, inspiration, wisdom, and advice.
Yeah.
And it's not just from Sean's, from other people as well. But
Right.
it's bringing out that vibe that we just talked about. You surviving what you survived and kind of saying, hey, look, there are ways to continue to conquer and succeed at life.
Right. Well, first of all, I have to say that unfortunately, Jill Lieberman just passed away.
I'm so sorry.
Very recently, and it was very sad because she was a very special person.
Yeah.
The book, what we did was we went out to 50 people, extraordinary in their individual fields, and we basically said, you know, what does success mean to you? And what's interesting, we had everybody from Mark Cuban to Anthony Robbins to Daryl McDaniels from Run DMC.
Sure.
And Sarah Blakely, the first female billionaire, and you know, also Coach K.
Mm-hmm.
And you start to see that these people that are in different fields of endeavor, that they're common denominators that exist in their path to success.
Right.
And it made me think of something one of my acting teachers said, which is, I have more in common with a successful plumber than I have in common with an unsuccessful acting teacher. And it's true. Almost everybody who becomes successful in any field, there are certain things that they have to do. Certain things, you know, integrity is one of them. You know, do what you say, you know, mean what you say, do what you say you're going to do, show up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people have the ability to effectively manage time. They have the ability to communicate effectively.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's certain things that you have to do to become successful no matter what you do. And it was interesting to see all of these really successful people also talk about their success, not in terms of the toys they had and the money that they had, but they talked about it in terms of their ability to help other people achieve their dreams. And I've always believed the fastest way to get what you want is to help other people get what they want.
Which explains why you're so giving of your time. Because I mean, here I am, and I'm being dead honest here. You didn't know me from Adam, and God bless you, Mike Marino. I know you're on a cruise ship somewhere doing your thing with your comedy, but just because he said it, we start texting each other, and we're here. This says a lot about you. That it's like, no, I'm gonna pay it forward. I'm gonna give of my time and help those because.
Well, I appreciate you doing this. I mean, it's this, you know, this illustrates something that I talk about in the book. I mean, this is, you know, an example of a win-win scenario. You know, I talk about bringing value to every single relationship. That's how you remain successful. You know, anyone can get lucky and hit the ball out of the park one time, but the ability to forge relationships with people by bringing value to the relationship, as opposed to simply getting what you want at the expense of them getting what they want, you know, that's a little that requires a little more finesse, and it's a little more of an art form.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. And when you did that book, and then obviously we talked about the sequel, but let me go back to photo number 3 because it was 2021 was the Way of the Cobra when that came out. Having done Success Factor X, did that help you write this book even better because you'd gone through all these experiences and all these stories with all these people?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, you know, being exposed to all of these people that were extremely successful and their stories. You know, by the time I wrote Way of the Cobra, it was my 3rd book. I was a more disciplined writer. You know, understood a little more about, you know, storytelling. And you know, I had grown as a person too. I mean, that was the biggest catalyst for this. You know, I've had some profound changes in my life over the last couple of years, and you know, the biggest one was I said, look, I can't put this book out, you know, elevating myself to a sensei if I'm not going to walk it like I talk it. And you know, I quit drinking. I mean, I lost 40 pounds. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I did that was you know, significant changes in my life because I just couldn't put that book out and be a fraud.
Right. No, it makes total sense. I mean, like you said, you're going to walk the walk, you're going to talk the talk.
I mean, my life is my biggest calling card for, you know, whether or not the philosophy and the strategy that I offer in the book works. I mean, you know, if I'm walking around, you know, out of shape and boozed up, and you know, it's not a real strong argument for buying the book.
Well, I'm going to defend the argument even further. When you look at these two people on camera, we're both the same age. Which one of these people looks really good right now? Sean Kanan, thank you. I rest my case.
Good lighting and Botox, pal.
Sean Kanan's here on the A game. Let me do photo number 7. Put the other poster up because I want to give equal time to each poster. It is the Comedy Dojo that is happening at the Celebrity Theater in Atlantic City. If you're around the area, you can get your tickets in advance. accomedyclub.com. It's going to be a lot of fun. Comedy Q&A, questions you ever wanted to ask Sean Kanan. We're pulling back on the Karate Kid and the Cobra Kai to save it for that night. There's so many other things we can talk about with Sean here on the A game. That's why we're doing that. Which brings me to my part of the show we call Random Shots. Random shots are questions that can come from anywhere. Yeah, I'm surprised Marino didn't clue you in on this part.
Then it would be random.
Then it would be. Yeah, that's true. Just based on your personality, things that I've kind of looked into with things you've done. And I'm taking some guesses here on a few of them. I'll start with this one. You can choose one of these that you could be on. One of these two shows. Which one do you choose? Chopped or Shark Tank?
Well, I'd have to go with Shark Tank because that would mean that I'm probably worth about $250 million.
Yeah, I mean,
so that's kind of a no-brainer.
But you are a bit of an entrepreneur with everything that you've done because it's more than just the acting thing, and we're proving that.
Yeah. You know, I try to diversify and do different things, but I don't know. I think Shark Tank would be kind of fun. I do love to cook. You know, my first book was a cookbook, The Modern Gentleman. Cooking is something.
8, so we can give a plug to the book. There you go.
Look at that hair.
Yeah.
My wife begged me not to use that photo, but I knew better. Had to use that douchebag photo. But it is but you know what? It's a great book. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Ignore the stupid cover.
Right.
You'll love what's inside.
Yeah, and it's more than just cooking. It is about you get into etiquette and all that stuff.
Yeah, the book's a hybrid. It teaches guys how to be better guys, and it gives women sort of a front row seat, pulling back the curtain of how I think some guys think. And I talk about the things that, you know, help make a guy a gentleman. You know, I talk about the modern gentleman defends himself. And I talk about how martial arts has been really important in my life. And I say, look, you know, if you ever do have to defend yourself and hit a guy in the mouth, go to page 87 for my mashed potato recipe because it's very easy to chew. You can, you know, bring that to him afterwards. So, you know, I talk about, you know, every woman is somebody's sister or daughter or mother. And if you're dating them, it's, you know, you treat them with respect. And I tell women, you know, don't have a guy pick you up at your house on your first date. Not a smart move. And I think it's kind of interspersed with that are a lot of recipes and how to set up your kitchen. So the book is a hybrid. I've never seen another book like that. It's a strange book, but the kids seem to like it.
I've never heard of anything like it either. I'm looking forward to getting a copy just so I can read along. But
yeah,
cooking wise, just hits me. Favorite thing to cook, and I'm sure your wife would defend this since she's sitting
Well,
around.
you know, my favorite thing to cook is different than what I usually cook, because I usually do like my food prep, and so I make stuff that's for my you know, watching my girlish figure and everything.
Right. Well,
Not too exciting.
You do it absolutely. Meal prep is so.
But if I really want to do something, you know, I do some really good Moroccan spiced lamb chops with couscous, roasted vegetables. I got a great pasta that I coined the name a puttanaise, which is part puttanesca, part bolognese, which is a really heavy ragu meat sauce with capers, olives, artichokes, eggplant over a nice tagliatelle. I can't bake. I don't bake. My wife is an excellent baker, and it's kind of indicative of our personalities, because she is a very linear and logical thinker, and baking is mathematical. You have to follow the recipe.
That's true.
And I think in a more circuitous, abstract way, and you know, my recipes never turn out the same recipe. You know, it's kind of throw this, what do we got, blah, 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 blah. And that's what works for me. So
good stuff. Is it true you did Dancing with the Stars, the Italian version? And if you did, where did you finish?
Sì, è vero. I finished well, I lasted 9 weeks. I don't know.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I lasted 9 weeks. So yeah, it was an incredible experience. I'd never lived abroad before. I lived in Rome for probably 3 months. You know, let me tell you something. Ballroom dancing is 100% a sport, because it was one of the hardest things I've ever done.
That's saying something, considering you've done karate for how many years? So.
Oh, I honest to God, I got more injured doing the dancing than I ever did in karate. That's true. Absolutely.
How did you get approached by that? Because obviously that's not something that would have been on the mainstream of like, okay, Italian television approaching shows.
Right.
I mean,
well, Bold and the Beautiful is
Bold and
the Beautiful is one of the top shows in Italy.
There we go.
So I had done a movie outside of Naples for about 3 months, and one of the producers on the film was actually also an agent, and she got me the offer to do it. And she said, "Do you want to do Ballando con le Stelle?" And I said, "What is Ballando con le Stelle?" And she said, "It's Dancing with the Stars." And as Don Corleone said, they made me an offer I couldn't refuse.
Amen.
And it's incredible. But I mean, you know, it was before I could really speak Italian. And so I was just a wrecking ball on TV. It was a live show. I remember the presenter, she said to me, she said, "Dove sei nato?" which means where were you born? And I wanted to say, I was born in Cleveland, but I escaped when I was 5. Okay. Right. Well, the verb for escape in Italian is scappare, and the verb for is scopare.
Oh, I think I know this.
I picked the wrong. No, it gets worse.
Oh no.
And then she said, "How did you feel after your dance?" And I wanted to say I felt a little discouraged. Well, the verb for being discouraged is scoraggiare, and the verb to fart is scoraggiare. And I literally told 5 million Italians on live TV that I got laid when I was 5 and I farted. So that's a true story. That happened. And so after a while, it kind of became like a thing where people would tune in to watch what part of the language I was going to mackle this week.
Oh my God, I gotta find this. You know, I gotta find.
Oh, it's on YouTube, my friend.
Good. I'm going to look for this.
The internet lives forever.
It does. You mentioned that you were born around the Cleveland area, but you actually grew up more toward the Pittsburgh area. So, yes. In growing up, what sports team did you gravitate toward?
I was a huge Pirates fan. And my mother took me to Pittsburgh to get me a suit for my bar mitzvah. And, you know, when you're 13, you don't really like to go clothing shopping.
No.
So I said, all right, I'll go if you get me tickets for, I think it was game 5 of the World Series when the Pirates were in. My mother, God love her, got tickets and took me to the World Series.
Pirates, Baltimore. We are.
And they won. Yep.
Oh, yep. Willie Pop Stargell on that team. Billy Madlock. Oh my God, what a great
Dave Parker.
The Cobra.
God. Did you ever see that? You ever see the documentary where what's his name? Doc Ellis. Doc Ellis throws the no-hitter on acid.
So out of his bejesus on LSD. Oh my God.
I mean, the confidence you must have to not get paranoid on that and to throw a no-hitter. I mean, let's talk about, like, ice running through your veins.
Oh, without a doubt. And if you've never seen it, go find it. I know
It's so good.
It really is. It's one of those, you're not going to believe the story that comes out of it. It's
right. Even if you're not a sports fan, it's really good.
No, I agree with you on that. You can have only one role. Now, I'm going to give you a choice of...
I'll take a Bialy.
You take a Bialy. There you go. Good choice. Good
Ciabatta.
Look, when you get down to Jersey, you got to load up on some bagels. You know this. You know this.
No bagels. No one likes a fat soap star.
That's true. Yeah, you got to stay in shape. Acting-wise, I'll give you a Marvel comically. Let's say Ghost Rider reboots. Maybe we give you that. Or you can be a Bond villain. I'm going to play to both sides of you. The good guy or the bad guy. Who do you prefer?
So I could be either a hero or a villain?
Yes.
Well, I got to choose the hero because they get sequels. They get the girl. They usually live to fight another day. So I'll take the hero. Although I do like playing villains.
Well, that's obvious. And anybody that has seen you on soaps, as a matter of fact, I got to put photo number 6 up here, Bing, because I had to get a Deacon Sharpe photo up here somewhere. There.
Oh, that's an old one. Wow.
That's an old one. Yes, that's an old Deacon photo. Don't forget, I mean, my soap opera love was not necessarily Bold and the Beautiful, but I will say this. You appeared on one of my favorite soap operas of all time. Now, I'm going to have some fun with you on this. There is a clip that I did on one of my podcasts, and it's 2 guys you would never expect to be talking about a soap opera. I will set it up by saying it this way. This is I and WWE Hall of Fame wrestler Bully Ray Dudley, and let the clip speak for itself.
Uh-oh.
I remember as a kid, my grandmother used to watch The Young and the Restless.
Okay.
And I'd be like, oh, come on, Grandma, do we really have to watch this? And she's like, this is my show. I like watching it. So I decided to watch The Young and the Restless with her one day.
Okay.
And for the next year and a half, I never missed The Young and the Restless.
I'll say this. I'm in college. It's the late 80s. It was so addictive that my roommate and I, we got girlfriends at this point. They're coming in the dorm room. They're like going, hey, we're ready for lunch. Like, shh, Nikki's about to tell who the real father is. We couldn't move. We're like going, is Victor Newman really the father of Nikki's baby? What?
Victor Newman and Nikki, absolutely.
Thank you. That's how obsessed trust me, I was obsessed back then too. Oh,
Did
God.
you ever think we were going to go down this road tonight talking about The Young and the Restless?
Talking Y&R with Bully Ray? No.
Tremendous.
I love it. I love it.
Oh, that's great. I love that. That's the thing about soap operas. You can meet someone, they're a total stranger.
Right.
And if you both watch the same show, you instantly have this common denominator that is this unifying factor.
So true.
I think in a time when soap operas have, a lot of them have gone the way of the dinosaur. Yeah. There's been a culling of the herd, and the 4 remaining ones still have huge fan bases. We still get great numbers on Bold and the Beautiful, and it's because people have a longitudinal relationship with these characters.
Right.
They have literally grown up watching Brooke and Ridge, and I've been off and on for 20 years now. And they know that if they go away for 6 months, they come back and tune in. After about 10 minutes, they'll figure out what's going on.
Right.
And I think it's reassuring. And for a lot of people who maybe don't have family or everything, they feel a sense of connection with the characters. And it really, makes them feel rooted in something that has a kind of dependability for them, something they can count on, and makes me feel good.
Well, let me ask this, because as you're talking about it, it made me think about when SoapNet was on and how they were rerunning some of these episodes if you missed it during the day. Was that sort of ahead of its time? Because I would think there is more of an avenue to have that, because more people are working. And even though the soap operas, which is great, that the ratings are there, the support is there, there's still people who may not want to, I don't want to record this, where they can go to a network and kind of say, oh, now I can catch this at night, and I don't have to miss my episode.
It was very much ahead of its time. Now, honestly, I don't even know where else you can see Bold and the Beautiful. I know it's on Paramount Plus. It's syndicated in probably 40 different countries, but now with the internet, you can watch almost any soap opera the next day. They re-upload it. I know that. So, people want to be able to watch what they want to watch, when they want to watch, and on what device they want to watch it on. And it's great because, Most people don't, meet in their living room at 12:30 to watch CBS and watch their show. They watch it, like you said, whenever they can. And so consequently, it's exposed us to a much wider audience.
Mm-hmm. Without a doubt. And it's ironic. There's 4 soap operas left. You've been on 3 of the 4.
I have.
It was a testament to you, by the way. And by the way, I was doing the math. 15 years full time between his run on General Hospital and on The Bold and the Beautiful. And then if you factor in all the cameo appearances he's done over the years, it's been a hell of a ride, my friend.
It's been a pretty good one. Yeah. And I can't wait to see what's next.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to wrap up Random Shots with this. Little soap opera trivia. I got 3 questions for you. Let's see. I think you're going to get at least 1 or 2 of these right. Since we mentioned Ron Moss earlier, Ridge Forrester from The Bold and the Beautiful. Now, some people do realize that Ron Moss had a career in music way before the soap opera. Do you remember what 70s band he was in that had a #1 hit in 77?
Baby, come back. Any kind of fool can see. Come on, Player. As a matter of fact, we sort of poke fun at that with Ron in Studio City.
Nice.
So Ron's like a really great sport too, and he's a very talented musician too.
Yeah.
He tours all over Europe.
Yeah, it's amazing to me that he's still a part of this. He'll do stuff on his own, but he'll still do stuff with players. So that's fantastic for all these years.
Right, next question.
All right, I go to Catherine Kelly Lang, Brooke Logan of The Bold and the Beautiful. It's a true or false question, and I had to do some digging on this to make sure. Catherine Kelly Lang's father once held an American sports record.
Well, I do know that her father was the Jolly Green Giant. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
And does it have something to do with, I want to say either swimming or track and field?
Believe it or not, no.
What is it?
Ski jumping.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I was doing my homework and I found this out.
Ski jumping.
Back in 56, her father, Keith, held the record, the American record for the longest ski jump, 128.5 meters.
Like those things you'd see on Wide World of Sports when you were a kid.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, my God. Really?
Yeah. I didn't know that until I was like going, I got to find a really good one that kind of blows. And I would try to find one. I'm like, good. I've blown Sean's mind. Good. Did that.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
She's super athletic. She does Ironman triathlons.
Oh, she's
no joke with the biking and the running and all that stuff.
Look, I mean, for anybody who doesn't know the exact numbers, here's what a triathlon is. If I'm not mistaken, it's a 3-mile swim, then it's a 110-mile bike ride, then throw in the 26.2-mile marathon on top of it.
And usually they do it in places like Hawaii where the heat is, absolutely a factor. I mean, it's like Spartan level.
Yeah. I'm like going, I like your hobby of comedy a lot better for the rush as opposed to doing a triathlon. I mean,
right.
All right, one more, and I'm going to go Young and the Restless on this one for Michael Damian, Danny Romalotti. Now, he's a writer, director, and producer more than anything else these days. But where he's making most of his money is in Christmas movies. So within one, either way, how many of these Christmas movies over the last several years do you think he's done?
Wow. I thought you were going to ask me what his #1 hit song was.
Oh, I had one of 2. I figured you might.
I was all ready to bust out Rock On.
If you knew Ron Moss's song, I'm like, I'm not going to Rock On. He's getting that.
Okay, I don't know. For some reason, the number 13 popped in my head.
Cut it in half. 6. I got
6. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Holiday movies are genius because if you do one that hits, it's like an annuity. I mean, my buddy Zach Ward, who I did a film with last year, is in Christmas Story, and I mean, how many every year they play Christmas Story, so good for Michael. He's a real nice guy.
Well, I figured it's something to think about. Like going, well, Michael, I could do a Christmas movie, sure, and have Live Forever on Hallmark. Why not?
I think I'm going to fill a niche. Nobody's done a good Hanukkah movie. Maybe I'll do a good Hanukkah movie, see if it hits.
There we go. A family-based Hanukkah movie.
Right.
You're right. That Sean Kanan, you're on to something here. I get a feeling there'll be a long talk with the wife coming up in the next 24 hours. Let me put it up one more time. For anybody that is here on the East Coast, especially in New Jersey, come on down next Saturday night. Tickets are now available, accomedyclub.com. This is the Comedy Dojo. Sean Kanan does stand-up comedy. You can tell he's funny just about what we're doing here. And he'll also do a Q&A afterwards. And if you have questions about Karate Kid, or obviously Cobra Kai. Sean will answer them for you. And hey, you might be looking up and getting an autograph. And oh, real quick before we wrap up, the books, since we mentioned them earlier, will they be available to show?
Absolutely. The books will be available. You can still get Way of the Cobra on Amazon, or if you'd like a signed copy, wayofthecobra.com. And the new book, Welcome to the Kumite, is only available at wayofthecobra.com. And I'll have it with me in New Jersey. So I hope everyone will come out. It's going to be a really fun night.
January 7th will be a blast. Sean, thank you so much for the time. I had a lot of
Rob,
fun.
it was such a pleasure. Thank you very much.
And it's still amazing. We're going to be talking more after this.
I hope so.
Too many people we know. By the way, props to another one of our friends, Peter Dobson. Dobbs, just be thankful the story we shared with each other didn't make it to the air. Just be thankful. That's all I'm going to say.
Kept the G-rated.
Yes, yeah, we try to keep the family rating somehow. Yeah. For Sean Kanan, I'm Rob Akampora. That's a wrap of the A Game. We'll be back next Thursday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 Pacific. Take care. Thanks again.